Dave, who attends our art class and films and edits and puts it all on YouTube. He's gone into my old Facebook posts. I suggested that I do like an introductory session on watercolours. And so really, I like to take this opportunity to thank everybody on YouTube. It's amazing, the response actually, and the kind comments. And art, it crosses cultures, doesn't it? Countries, languages, art does that. Where the comments from people in the Bahamas and Spain and Australia, different parts. But the gospel is like that as well. And I'm a minister of the gospel. And when I was a minister in a church in Cardiff, in Emmanuel, it was then I started my journey in watercolour. Up till then, it was oil paints and acrylic. And Gwyneth, my wife, said to me, "You'll never paint in watercolour. You haven't got the patience for watercolour." And they say behind every successful man, there's a surprised woman. And it is a challenge. Watercolour is a challenge. It's known as an unforgiving medium. I dare make mistakes, but of course you can. And there are simple techniques, very simple really, that can get you on your way with watercolour. I was blessed enough to have a tutor in Cardiff, Anna Lowry. You can Google him. He works very florid. There's a flourish when he paints. Very fast, very loose. And he was holding classes on a Monday morning in Forest Farm, about 9:30. That was ideal for me. I could get up at 5:30, go into my study, do my work for about 4 hours, and then go off to Forest Farm. And that was such a help. But then there were personal challenges as well that I had to overcome myself. And so I'll share something of those with you. To begin with, paper. Paper's all important, can't skimp on paper. I use Bockingford, and you can get it online. And you know, paper, I get it in big sheets so that I can cut it up to whatever size I want. And with Bockingford, there's no watermark, so you can use either side, doesn't matter. And also, in terms of the quality of watercolour paper, this is so important. When they weigh it in a ream, if it's £90, 140, 200, because I'm old school, I'm not metric. But if you had £90, it's no good. You'll have to stretch it or do things with it because it'll cockle when you put the water on. But if you get £140, no problem at all. And I'll cut them to sheets and I'll put it on a piece of board and then I'll just masking tape it on the corners and you're away to go. And that's all it is really with paper. But now brushes. You can't skimp on brushes either because they've got to hold the water. You don't want them damaging the texture of the paper. And mop brushes or you know, brushes, a mixture of sable and synthetic can be so expensive. An alternative, inexpensive alternative, is a Chinese brush. Holds the water beautifully, comes to a fine point, and that is indispensable. Then you've got a rigger brush, which you can get fine lines on, and again, it will hold a lot of water. And then I use a synthetic brush then. And so those are the brushes. Now, in terms of paint, I use Cotmans in tubes, either in tubes, and then I got my palette, and what I'll do, I'll squeeze then the tubes into the palette when it's running low, but so I just replenish the palette. In terms of the colours, I use cadmium yellow, raw sienna, cadmium red, light red, I use burnt umber, and I use ultramarine blue, sometimes cobalt is a gentler blue, and then cerulean blue, which is a very bright blue, great for seas or what have you. And so those are my colours. And now this is essential in terms of paint, gouache. But don't get the zinc white, it hasn't got the covering power. Get the permanent white. And if you get gouache, then you can put white on top of dark, and because it's an opaque paint. You can also put a little bit in with the watercolour and tint it and get lighter colours on dark. This has rescued so many of my paintings that could have gone in the bin, but for gouache. And then work small, don't work large, because, I'll give you an idea, this is only on like an 8 by 10 inch mount, and that's Llanrwyd Major Beach. Let's see what else I've got here. That's Three Cliffs Bay. Yeah, that's Nash Point, if you can say that's Nash Point. And here's one of Cardiff, Cardiff Bay, going to Penarth. Yeah, so I have loads, just two small ones. And then if you make a mistake, turn it around, paint on the back of it. And but they're easy to frame. If you work at standard sizes, they're 8 by 10, 10 inch by 12, 16 by 12, 16 by 20. I've always done that. No trouble getting frames. So keep it simple, and basically that's it. Oh, another tip in closing: hairdryer. You know, that's grand if you're in a rush. When I'm out on location, I tend to do two paintings at the same time, looking in different directions of where I am, and I can move from one to the other. But when I'm in the house, I'll use a hairdryer, dry the sky, move on again, dry. So quick that way. So yeah, so what I'll do, I'll give some intro to watercolour paintings, and we'll do some skies or what have you, and that'll be another video.